Uh-oh, we're recording. Uh-oh. Hey, family. Well, hey, we're following the lead of our partners, Kat and Latanya Garrett. And welcome to Toast to Love. We're trying to do our daily embrace. We're trying to make sure each day that we embrace each other, touch each other, make sure we let each other know we're there to support. And so we kind of knew we were recording, but we just want to give you a reminder of that. Hey, welcome to Toast to Love. I'm Isaac McJimsey.
And I'm Jackie McJimsey.
And we're your hosts today. And today we're talking about forgiveness. We're talking about walking through forgiveness. This is part 2. 2 weeks ago, we did part 1, and we dealt with unforgiveness. Today, we're going to do the application, and we'll talk about forgiveness. So, Jackie, lead us into what is forgiveness?
So we know forgiveness is key. We've got the definition there on the screen, but, just kind of break it down. It's not holding the person that offended you captive to unforgiveness. It's letting it go.
Letting it go.
And the only way you can let it go is by showing that person mercy and kindness and love and say, I'm not going to hold you in this prison.
That's right. And that's not agreeing with what they did. What they did is still wrong, but you release the person. You let them out of the prison. I think one definition biblically, it talks about to harbor as like a pier and like being on an ocean or being at a pier, that you let the boat go. You release it. You let it go. And so you don't harbor it. You don't keep it in. Because, hey, keeping unforgiveness and resentment in, who does it hurt? It only hurts you. Right.
Hurts you more because, that can turn into a lot of medical things, harboring unforgiveness, headaches and stress. And, people have even linked it to cancers because of the stress of it. Holding someone down it can get pretty bad.
That's right. That's right. So we want you to walk into unforgiveness. Family, we're seeing a lot of people in our practice, a lot of our clients. The first thing we may go through is unforgiveness and walk them through the process. It's
of forgiveness.
Of forgiveness. Hey, it's much needed. Jackie and I say, and our partners, Kat and Latanya, say, forgiveness is a habit. And it's like a muscle. And we'll replay that again, but it's a muscle that you got to develop. And sometimes that muscle gets weaker, you get out of practice. That's right. So an event happens, somebody offends you or whatever, and now you're locked into this unforgiveness. So family, how do you know you have forgiven somebody? How do you know that you're walking in unforgiveness? We want to give you a little test. We got a little quiz for you to know, how well do you score on the forgiveness quiz? So we'll do a few of these. It's a 10-question quiz, but we're going to do 5 of them. And then Jackie's going to ask the question and see how you do. And then later on, we'll give you, if you email us, we'll give you a link to know how well am I doing in forgiveness.
So these are true or false. Forgiveness is an option based on our feelings. What you think?
On my feelings is how I feel. I'm going to say false. Yep, it's false. Forgiveness is the act of obedience to God. We're commanded by God. He says, hey, if you don't forgive others, I'm not able to forgive you. It's the Bible talking about us forgiving one another, being kind to one another, releasing one another, not to judge so much. It seems like every week we come on, there's a subject matter that talks about, what we're talking about in terms of what's in the culture.
That's right.
What's going on in society. And one of the big things we see now is that people need to forgive, need to forgive. So question number 2, Jackie.
Forgiveness is a good idea when someone deserves it. True or false?
If I dealt with my emotions, I would say, yeah, only when they deserve it. But the real answer is false. None of us deserves forgiveness, yet God gives it to us. I mean,
every day.
It's amazing, and that's why we're supposed to replicate what he does. Jesus said something powerful, and I think I mentioned it in part 1, is he said, I have the power to forgive.
That's right.
And he's given us that power to forgive one another. So we have to access that, and forgive others. Question number 3.
So true or false? Forgiveness is a good idea when someone deserves it.
And I think we just went over that one. Oh, I'm sorry. I clicked you on the wrong one.
Forgiveness is rewarded by God.
I would say so. I would say it's rewarded by God.
Sure.
When we choose to honor God and live by kingdom principles, there are rewards. That's based on Proverbs 25, 21, and 22, the verses. And anytime you obey God, anytime you follow his principles, I believe there's a reward in just the obedience.
Just the obedience.
And then the other thing is, and we hadn't went into, Jackie, is when you forgive somebody, you're giving yourself the gift. You're releasing yourself from the pain, from the anguish, from the offense. You're releasing yourself. So I think it's a gift you can give yourself as well.
It is. Most definitely. I agree. So true or false? Forgiveness requires other people to confess or make up.
Ooh. They better confess. I mean, they did me wrong and all that stuff, you know.
You want them to confess.
We want them to. We want them to. But invariably, that's false. It does not matter what the other person does. Forgiveness is the individual act we choose. It's a choice. And to do regardless of the other person's actions. That's in Colossians 3:13. Hey, you may not be able to reconcile with the person. You may not be able, family, you may not be able to get restored back in the relationship, but you're still able to forgive. Now, I want to nuance that a little bit.
I was going to say.
When you're married and you're doing life in daily quarters every day, there's going to be opportunities and there are going to be situations where, hey, you're going to offend your spouse. Mm-hmm. You're going to get on their nerves. You're going to say something you shouldn't say. I do believe if you're married and there's an offense, there's a betrayal, that reconciliation is a must.
It is definitely a must. But, you know, there will be situations where you may feel as if that's not something that you can do or you can bring yourself to do. Forgiveness in that situation is a must, but reconciliation, you know, may not be. But, you know, for your day-to-day things, you don't, when what we're talking about, like he forgot to take out the trash or he forgot to pick up the child from school, you know, those are things that can cause a lot of stress and trauma in a relationship, because you got to think, you got kids that were sitting at a school for a while and you just forgot to pick them up because you got too busy doing whatever. Harboring that unforgiveness is not good for the relationship. You got to get that out. You got to talk about it, and you got to find out what you need to do. Walk through the steps of forgiveness and make sure that you're forgiving your partner.
So family, we are encouraging, you know, if there are things, just sit down and there are things that cross your mind. There are things that may have happened in the past. You may need to forgive yourself. That's right. You may need to forgive a family member. More importantly, you may need to forgive your spouse. And we're just encouraging you to take this opportunity to do an inventory. If you're harboring some emotions that are unhealthy, bitterness, resentment, we're seeing all those things. But more importantly, we're seeing people get delivered. We're seeing healing. We're seeing people come in and get free from the pain and bound by unforgiveness by walking through forgiveness.
And mind you, it is a process. It's a process. It's not just, oh, I forgive you. Like Isaac said, it's not just, oh, I forgive you, and then it's done and gone. Because what's not going to happen, what we don't have, most of us don't have, is amnesia.
That's right.
We don't have amnesia. Like, you did this. Now I need to forgive you. I say I forgive you. What is the steps to make this an actual reality? Now, Jackie, that's what we're talking about.
Right. And we have something better than amnesia, because it would be good to just forget. But we live in this crazy world. And sometimes you just can't forget. That's sometimes right. Memories will come back. Sometimes you may be triggered. Something somebody says may trigger you and bring you right back to that place where things happen. And so you got to be able to have the tools and the coping mechanisms to get through that moment, but to know, more importantly, that you have forgiven them and released them.
That's right.
We hear this all the time, don't we, Jackie? Is people say, I just don't feel like I've forgiven them. Well, forgiveness is not on your feelings.
Not on your feelings.
It's based on a decision you make. And if you follow that decision, eventually your feelings will follow.
That's right.
They will follow. So last question, y'all, in our quiz on forgiveness.
Forgiveness is tough to do in the natural.
I'm gonna just say this real quick. True. It's true. It's tough to do in the natural. We're dealing with something that's spiritual.
Oh yeah. Something that we can't do in our own strength.
Right. And in our own reasoning. In our own mind, we have to, it's a spiritual thing. Forgiveness, it is, but it can affect every area of your being. It could affect your physical being. It could affect your mental well-being. It could affect all those components and your spiritual life.
That's right.
What
does God say about not unforgiving?
Well, the Bible says if you have an alt with your brother or sister, if you're on that altar, get up from that altar, go get it right, go work it out with them. So that's how important forgiveness is to God. And it should be that important to us. Right. In the season we're in this time of life, I think it's very important to walk in forgiveness. Let me say this, Jackie. I think this is important. Our children are watching us.
Oh, yeah.
They're watching us. They know the little tips we have with, whether it be a family member, with one another, or even with them. And they watch how we handle this thing called forgiveness. And so they're picking up the habits. And guess what, y'all? The test is going to come back around.
It's coming.
It's coming. And we got to be prepared. And so we can pass this test. This is an important thing. This is an important concept. It's an important habit called forgiveness. And we want our children to get it because guess what? We know this to be true. We as parents are not perfect. Not perfect at all. We all make mistakes. And we want our children to show us that same grace, that same mercy as we go through life. And more importantly, they're going to get that role modeling, that map from us.
And then they'll be able to exhibit it with their family and their friends that they create. So it's important.
Dr. Dobson said the best gift I can give my children is to love their mother.
That's right.
The best gift I can give my children is to forgive their mother or be forgiven by their mother.
Right.
That's what's going to help us stay together.
And move forward.
And to move forward. So it is not a natural thing, y'all. We've gone around the bridge about it a little bit. It takes, some cases, it takes the power of the Holy Spirit. Mm-hmm. Making sure that you're being prompted. That's right. and that you can release it. Sometimes it takes the supernatural power of the Holy Spirit working with your spirit, working with your soul so that you can forgive people. So family, that was our quiz. If you feel like, hey, I got a few of those wrong, I had a different concept about forgiveness or about, what does it mean to forgive someone? We're gonna put this in the link on our website. We're gonna put this if you email us, and we'll give you some information at the end of this telecast. Is that you want to walk through forgiveness? Check us out. So let's delve into
4 phases.
The 4 phases. How do we forgive? Family, we won't hit all. We'll hit all parts of it in terms of the phases. We may not be able to go into each detail. If you feel like you need that, hit us individually because forgiveness is a process. It is a process, but we want to do, from our perspective, give you the 4 phases of forgiveness. So first phase.
It's going to be the first phase is the uncovering phase. And what is that?
What is that?
Do I need to forgive somebody? Mm-hmm. Do I have anything going on in my heart? Am I holding something against somebody? Do I feel a certain way when I walk into a room and see a certain person? Is there someone that I need to forgive? That you got to acknowledge it first. You got to realize and stop and say, hey, do I have a problem?
That's right. Do I have alt with a person? Yeah. Does certain way a person speaks, does that bring me, anxiety? Or do I remember an event where, I felt offended or was hurt? We got to be mindful of that. A lot of times we're seeing in our practice, people are suppressing these emotions. They're saying, I don't have to forgive nobody. And
I done forgave.
I'm telling you, y'all, that is a tip off to me that you walking in some kind of unforgiveness. Because as we pull those layers back, we find out that there's Something maybe happened in their childhood.
Mhm.
Something maybe happened years ago that they pushed down. And the biggest person I think we need to forgive is ourselves.
Mhm.
That's the toughest to do. So what's the second phase?
Decision phase.
You got to make that decision.
Am I going to forgive?
Or am I not going to forgive? And most of the time, people, what is the story you're telling yourself? We tell ourselves we've forgiven and we really haven't. There ought to be something down within you that releases. There ought to be, and it may take time, but it starts with you making a conscious decision. I am going to forgive this person, release this person, saying their name. I released it
every day.
Yeah, every day.
That's part of what we tell people. Hey, this is not you. Forgiveness is a muscle, and you gotta exercise that muscle. And when we first begin to exercise, what we know, sometimes we don't feel it. We don't feel it. It's not. Is it working? I don't know if this is worth it. 2 or 3 days later, you go, oh my God, I'm so sore. That hurt so bad. You actually realize, I mean, is this something I can do? Can I keep this up? Because you're going to have to practice. And that's the next phase.
Which is the work phase. Saying it every day. We take you through a process, but just a little tip here. If you have somebody that you are harboring some ill will towards, that they done something, and you confess it. Say, hey, I forgive such and such. Say their name. Do it for 7 days. And that'll begin that work of actually letting them go, actually releasing them. Because one thing happens which leads to the fourth phase is a deepening phase, you reframing. Let's give an example. We're at a dinner party. I say something that embarrasses Jackie. She's hurt. Her feelings are hurt. She suppresses it. 2 years later, that story has not changed. She's hurt. She's maybe some resentment. Every time we go to a dinner party, she's like, I wonder, is he going to embarrass me again? He's going to say something that makes me feel shameful. And so she goes through a process. She confesses it. She brings it up. She may even bring it to my attention. Now the story begins to change because we're adding to that story. She was hurt. She was offended. She was in unforgiveness. When we forgive, we add on to the story. That's right. We reframe it. Now she can say, I've forgiven Isaac. Mm-hmm. I've released it. So now we're gaining a deeper perspective on that event because we're adding to the event. Many people are stuck at an event. That's right. Something happened. They're stuck 20 years ago. They're stuck 5 years ago, maybe stuck, a year ago. That's right. When you forgive someone, you actually change the story. You actually change the story. So family, as we come to the end of our telecast, the question is, are you walking in forgiveness? Are you living in forgiveness? Are you working that muscle to get stronger in forgiveness? If not, reach out to us. How can they reach out to us, Jackie?
Hey, we got it on the screen, but we're at marriageuncut.com, or catch us on our Facebook page, Marriage Uncut. You can DM us, or our individual Facebook pages, Isaac McGimpsey or Jackie McGimpsey. We're also on Instagram under Toast to Love. So you can reach us on Instagram. And also you can email us at marriageuncut2020@gmail.com.
So family, reach out to us. We want you to walk in forgiveness. We want you to experience the freedom, the life, the abundance, the love of being not only forgiven, but forgiving others. And so it's a lifestyle. It's not only a habit, it's a lifestyle. We're committing to do that. We want you to commit to do that. Reach out to us if you're having difficulties with that. And so family, until next time, this ends our broadcast to Toast to Love. We love you guys, and we look forward to seeing you next week on this same channel. Hey, listen, also like and share our video. Please do. If you don't mind, go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. Landon has that. He does that little promo for us. Yeah. And like and share, subscribe to our channel. Share this with some friends that may need this in their life. Thank you.